Hi, aniquest here. This is my recap for the anime Yozakura family. If you dig my recaps, don't forget to subscribe and smash that notification bell. The story kicks off with this dude named Tai, who just lost his whole family in a messed up accident with a truck. That messed him up big time and made him realize how fragile life is. Now he's all scared, thinking he could lose anyone he cares about at any damn moment. His childhood friend Misumi is feeling the pain too, mourning the loss of his family. But she tells him not to worry because she ain't ever gonna leave him. Some time passes, and we see Tai in his classroom, with his classmates coming up to him, inviting him to hang out, but he keeps shutting them down, and it pisses them off because it ain't the first time he's turned them down. They wonder why he don't want to chill with them. They figure he must be shy or something, so they decide to back off. Little do they know, he's actually happy they reached out. But he just ain't in the mood to talk to people because he's still trying to cope with his family's death. After they leave, Misumi comes up to him and gives him some grub, telling him he needs to eat well. Their classmates are watching them, and we find out they're all jealous because they all got a thing for Misumi. She's starting to worry about Tai because he's becoming antisocial, saying he needs to open up and talk to people. But he reminds her how she turned down their senior Tanaka, thinking he's such a great guy. So Tai's wondering why she rejected him. But she tells him not to stress about her and says he needs to move on and chat with their classmates. She's about to feed him, but the vice principal Hirakawa swoops in and eats it instead. She gets mad, reminding him about his promise to stop snacking, but he explains he just couldn't control himself. She knows he's supposed to be on a business trip, but he says he changed his plans because he missed eating her food. He's digging the color of her hair, but she tells him to bounce back to his office. Then he tells Tai to meet him after class. Tai's wondering if he screwed up somehow, thinking Hirakawa's a total weirdo. After class, Tai heads to Hirakawa's office, wondering why he got summoned. But Hirakawa reveals he's got a whole collection of pictures of Misumi. He admits he's taken countless shots of her, revealing he's been creeping on her from the shadows to protect her from all the dudes trying to get with her. He knows Tanaka asked her out, and we see that Hirakawa tortured the poor guy, warning him to stay the hell away from her. So Tai realizes he's in deep trouble because Hirakawa's straight up insane. The dude even threatens to kill Tai, asking if he's catching feelings for Misumi. Tai is freaking out, fearing for his life, but Hirakawa tells him not to take it personal, saying Misumi is his sister. But out of nowhere, this girl shows up and hits a button, flooding the room with light, giving Tai a chance to escape. He regains consciousness and Misumi welcomes him, saying she's relieved he's alright. But he's all confused because he's surrounded by a bunch of strangers, so he starts freaking out, demanding to know who the hell they are. Misumi tells him to chill and introduces them as her siblings. Turns out the girl who saved his ass is Futaba, and she's got a brother named Shinzo, who's straight up obsessed with guns. Then there's Kengo, who's all about the cats, and Shen, who's a tech whiz. And last but not least, there's Nano, who's into doing experiments, and they got a guard dog named Goliath. Misumi spills that their family is actually a crew of spies, and Tai can't believe it. Wondering if he's getting punked, he grabs one of Shinzo's guns, thinking it's a freaking toy. But when he fires that thing, he realizes it's the real deal. They explain that being a spy is just a regular gig for them, working as freelancers, but they're struggling because the government spy is offering their services for a cheaper price. But Shin drops the bomb that their family's got the best reviews on the internet, and Kengo adds that their brother Ishiro is boosting their rep because the ladies can't get enough of him. Tai puts two and two together and figures out Kengo's talking about Hirakawa. Futaba breaks it down that he's a flawed dude, but he's the top spy in the family. Tai is wondering why he's being targeted, so she spills that they got some intel saying someone wants to off Misumi. Futaba spills that Misumi almost died because of Ishiro, and the stress from that made her hair turn white. Ishiro blames himself for what went down, so he's been obsessing over her, doing whatever it takes to keep her safe. He got rid of anyone who got too close, but he made an exception for Tai because they go way back. But after learning about the intel, Ishiro decided it was time to eliminate him. Just then, the alarm goes off, and Ishiro storms into the house, but Misumi's siblings promise to hold it down and protect Tai. Shinzo spills that he sets up traps all over the house, but they all know there's still a major disadvantage because Ishiro's got mad skills. Tai feels like he's bringing trouble to the family, but Futaba tells him not to trip, saying it's always been a family thing. She drops some knowledge on him, saying he should marry Misumi because there's this rule in their family that stops them from killing each other. She explains about this cherry blossom ring that everyone in her family wears, saying when half of it is given to the spouse, the marriage becomes official. So if Misumi hands over that ring, Ishiro can't touch Tai. But Misumi doesn't want to marry him because he's still stuck mourning his family's death. And Futaba respects their decision. Everyone gets ready to throw down with Ishiro, but they realize he's already in the room, claiming he wrecked Shinzo's traps. Futaba tells him to back off, but he ain't having it. So she straight up slams his ass into the ground out of nowhere, and then it's an all-out brawl. But the dude can hold his own and uses his weapon to blast them away. He demands they hand over Tai, threatening to wreck the whole place if they don't comply. But Futaba charges in, trying to close the distance, but she ends up being restrained. Shin tells the others to bounce while she gets ready to throw hands. But Ishiro tells her she ain't no match for him, but she doesn't give a damn and calls in her drones, ordering them to light his ass up. We cut to Tai, all stressed out about the others, but Misumi reminds him they can't kill each other because of the family rule, so they'll be okay. She shows him a hiding spot, telling him to stay put, but she peeps that he's worried, so she reassures him that she ain't going anywhere. Ishiro manages to take out the drones and spots Misumi with Tai, telling her to give him a hug, but she flips the script and straight up attacks him, so he starts using his wires to restrain her. He admits he's impressed and takes off his mask, knowing Kingu was pretending to be Misumi. He knows Misumi's actually disguised as Tai, and we see Tai watching them, knowing she's in deep trouble. She takes off her mask and tells him to back off and leave Tai alone because he ain't trying to harm her. He agrees, but he tells her she can't leave the house, saying it's dangerous outside. He explains his plan to clear out any threats around her, so nobody can mess with her. He's even willing to take a stab for her, showing he's ready to risk his life to keep her safe. She's about to agree to his deal, but then Tai pops up out of nowhere, telling Ishiro to let her go, but Ishiro ain't having it, telling Tai to stay the hell away from their family. Tai realizes Ishiro's just like him, because they are both scared as hell to lose what they hold dear. But Tai ain't down with Ishiro's methods, knowing Misumi's suffering because of him. So Tai straight up proposes, telling her to marry him, saying he'll be fine because she promised to never leave him. So she tosses him a ring, but just as he about to grab it, Ishiro steps in, saying he'll never let Tai marry her. But Tai ain't giving up, and he manages to snatch the ring, thinking about all the times Misumi looked out for him. He doesn't want to see her suffer because of Ishiro. Then the siblings show up and peep Tai rocking the ring, promising to protect Misumi. They start celebrating, thinking he's the bomb diggity, and Futaba tells Ishiro to train Tai, so he can hold it down for Misumi. The next day, we peep Tai waking up, but he spots Ishiro standing over him with a freaking knife. He barely dodges it, and Ishiro praises his reflexes, but Tai thinks Ishiro's still trying to off him. Ishiro explains it's just part of their training, saying spies gotta stay alert even when they sleep. Now it's time for some exercise, and out of nowhere, he grabs Tai with his wires. Meanwhile, Misumi's getting their lunches ready, but she suddenly hears Tai screaming, so she rushes over to check on him, and she finds Akiro helping him stretch. Misumi starts getting mad, so Ishiro decides to call it out. He checks the time and realizes they gotta bounce, so he straight up grabs Misumi, and they jump out the window as the whole damn house blows up. Tai wonders what's going on, and Ishiro explains that somebody planted a bomb in the house. Now they're in a whip, and Ishiro gets a report from Shinzo saying the bomb was in the kitchen, meaning they were trying to take out Misumi. Tai wonders why the hell someone would want to kill her, so Ishiro reveals that Misumi is the 10th head of the Yakuza family. Ishiro goes on to explain that the Yakuza family goes way back to the ninja days in the Edo period, and all their descendants got superhuman abilities. But there's always one regular-ass person who's born as the head, even though they got no powers themselves. They carry the superhuman gene, and their kids will be able to have powers. So it's the family's duty to protect Misumi and keep their bloodline flowing. Ishiro notes they ain't care about the bloodline, but everybody just want to protect Misumi as her siblings. Ishiro mentions that eventually, Misumi gonna step into the underworld as the Yakuza family leader. So right now, she gotta learn about the regular world. But that also makes them a target for their enemies. Suddenly, shots ring out from behind, and Tai is losing it. But Ishiro tells him the car is bulletproof. The dudes start busting out bigger guns, but the whip swerves out of harm's way. Ishiro's worried about spilling his tea, telling the driver to drive more smoothly. And guess who's driving? It's freaking Goliath. Tai can't even believe his eyes. Then the dudes start shooting rockets at them, but Goliath manages to dodge them like a boss. Ishiro spills his tea, so he steps out to handle business himself. He effortlessly blocks their bullets with his wires and slices up the cars chasing them. Then he heads back to Tai and Misumi, reminding Tai he part of the family now and gotta protect Misumi too. So Ishiro plans to teach him everything about being a spy. Ishiro hands him a piece, saying his first mission is to keep Misumi safe from the assassins all day. They pull up at school, and Misumi says what's up to her classmates, but we see Tai following after her, scoping out the whole damn room. The girls think he acting hella weird, but the other boys give him props, but when they see his face, they straight up shocked, wondering what the hell happened to him. We cut back to the whip, and Tai's bugging out staring at the gun, but Ishiro's like, "Don't worry, we can clean that shit up if you even take someone out." Misumi tells her bro to quit playing around, and Tai is relieved to hear that, but she mentions the real threats are bombs and poison, so a gun ain't gonna help. Ishiro tells him to watch out for this bomber dude named Tamiya, saying his bombs are top-notch. Ishiro even used his services before, so Tai is wondering why the hell Tamiya would turn on them. But Ishiro explains it's common for folks in that line of work to switch sides easily. Ishiro spills that Tamiya has one weak spot. He's addicted to social media. Dude even posts about how his job is going. Ishiro tells them there are hostages he needs to save, so he won't be rolling with them. But he warns Tai not to let his guard down, saying Tamiya's posted that there gonna be 2 more bombs. Tai gotta protect Misumi no matter what until Ishiro gets back. Tai scans the room, trying to figure out where the bombs could be, and he decides to stick close to Misumi. But then Tamiya drops a post saying the second bomb's in place, and Tai starts freaking the hell out. Next thing you know, he gets smacked by a ball. The other boys check on him, but he spots a figure through the window and bolts towards them. He makes it to the infirmary, but he hesitates at the door, and the nurse shows up behind him, asking if he's good. He quickly comes up with an excuse and bounces, but we see the woman smiling. We cut back to the classroom, where Misumi chatting it up with the girls, while Tai checks his phone and sees Tamiya set up the final bomb. He thinks about how Misumi learned to protect herself, like how she never eats nothing she ain't sure about and how she always avoids being alone. The boys apologize again for smacking him and give him some chocolate. He straight up scarfs it down, and the boys can't believe he actually took it, reminding him how nervous he normally gets when they talk to him. Suddenly, Tai starts feeling sick as hell, so they think they should take him to the infirmary. But then they remember the nurse ain't there today, and Tai straight up passes out. He wakes up and finds Misumi there, telling him the infirmary ain't open. Tai starts doubting if he's the right person for her, thinking he doesn't know shit about her even though they've been childhood friends. Despite being in constant danger, she always got his back. He realizes he never even thought about her feelings when he agreed to marry her. But then she straight up bonks him and says she the one who chose him, and she thanks him for marrying her. Tai's stoked to hear that, but then he spots a bomb on the ceiling. That shit blows up, and the boys think it's just one of the science club's experiments. We see Nano and some woman admiring the explosion, and we see that she was actually Kengo. Tai and Misumi survive the blast, and Tai thinks about how the hell Tamiya managed to plant a bomb in a random room. But he remembers how the infirmary was closed, so this was the next best spot for someone to rest. He realizes Misumi being targeted through his movements, and then he finds the third bomb on his own body. He figures out that Tamiya purposely announced his moves so Tai would stay by Misumi's side, making him the bomb that would kill her. With only a few seconds left, the door blocked, so Tai jumps out of the building to get away from Misumi. But out of nowhere, Ishiro catches him and disarms the bomb, giving props to Tai for finishing his mission. Misumi asks what they're gonna do with the bomb, and Ishiro says he's planning to return it to its owner. Nano, Kingo, and Shinzo show up, and Misumi realizes they've been watching the whole time. Kengo says they just wanted to peep Tai on his first mission. Shinzo hands over Tamiya, begging for mercy, but Ishiro straight up tosses him out the window as his bomb goes off, and everyone's admiring the explosion. We see Ishiro looking annoyed as Tai rolls up to their house, but Misumi reminds him that Tai's place got wrecked by the bomb, and now that they are married, he can't refuse. So Ishiro tells Tai to watch his back. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to not miss the next part.